Hello, everybody. Welcome into the NBA Front Office Show. It's playoff time. Our playoff preview show. We're going to take a look at all the different matchups, all the ones that we know. There's a couple that we don't know for sure just yet, but we'll dive into those anyway. I think we'll still get the answer on those. We'll make our predictions as well. I'm Trevor Lane. Make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel. Joined by Keith Smith. Keith, I love this time of year. Playoff time. There's the intensity watching the games, even just watching that Warriors Grizz game last night, just the intensity of the game, it just goes up so much. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it really was. You also got to see like the strategy comes in more, right? Like you're, especially in that spot, it's a single game type environment, so you're really focused on, all right, we can't play these lineups, we can't play these players. These guys are going to get more run and those kind of things. It was a fun night, the first play. The Magic kind of ran away with it late. The Hawks just ran out of steam, and then Trae Young, we'll politely say, called it an early night.
Yes.
I don't think he was so polite about calling it an early night, but it is what it is. So yeah, it's the playoffs are the best, man. That first weekend of the playoffs is so good. Like you get the 4 games Saturday, the 4 games Sunday. Basketball pretty much all day long. Like you just can't beat it. It's so great.
So let's get into, we're going to go series by series and we'll get into this. I guess let's start with the real easy ones here. So like when we go, let's just start here with the Thunder against whoever survives between the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Mavs. So the Kings and the Mavs, they play tonight. The winner will then take on the Grizzlies, who lost to the Warriors, and the winner of that will become the 8 seed. So that's the way the play-in tournament works. 9-10 are single elimination, and the 7-8 seeds are double elimination. So, Keith, it doesn't matter. I think the Thunder are going to sweep whoever makes it. I think the Grizzlies are the best team out of that group. I think the Grizz will be the team to make it through. You never know in a one-game scenario, though, what could happen. I think the Grizzlies make it through, and I think the Thunder sweep them, and I don't think it will be the Grizz can put up a fight for sure, but the Thunder are really, really good, and I just don't think – I think Memphis makes enough mistakes, and the Thunder are very good at capitalizing on mistakes. And if it's the Kings or the Mavs, I think it's going to be even easier for OKC.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't really. This one's going to be very quick because I don't have a lot more to add to that. I think the Thunder are going to absolutely hammer whoever it is. I also think it will be Memphis. I think maybe Memphis can give OKC a little bit of trouble with their size, kind of across the board. They play some pretty big guys at times, but then I think the Thunder just say, fine, then we'll just go to the 2 big lineup more, or we'll really make that disadvantageous to you on the other end.
Yeah.
Right. We'll space you out with, make you chase on the perimeter with guys. I think it's going to be, if Zach Edey can be really good for Memphis and like really impactful, Memphis has a little bit of a chance to make these games competitive. If he can't be good, they're going to have to play small, and their small lineups just can't match the Thunder smaller lineups.
No.
So I'm picking OKC over whoever it is in 4.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to dispatch them. And I think they learned part of the lesson you learn when you go through your first playoff run is get series over with, right? Then there's no chance of an upset if things get really weird, and no extra games, no extra miles, no extra chance for injury. Get it over with. So I'm picking OKC over whoever it is in 4. What about you?
Yeah, same for me. OKC in 4. Last thing, you mentioned the Grizzlies have size, but is there a big in the NBA that plays smaller than Jaren Jackson Jr.? Like, he doesn't play like a real big. I mean, so there's that. And then, my God, someone teach Zach Edey not to bring the ball down.
Yeah.
He kept bringing it down and just getting swarmed. Okay, this will play out in a pretty similar fashion here, though. Cavs against the Hawks, the Bulls, the Heat. For some reason, maybe it's because what they did to my Lakers. I'm kind of gravitating towards the Bulls as maybe the team that survives this. But regardless, I think it's a similar situation to OKC. The Cavs have been excellent all season. They've been shooting the 3 at a high volume and a high percentage. The way they operate on the offensive end is clinical, and I don't see any of these 3 giving them any kind of a real challenge. I think it's another sweep is what I'm predicting.
So real fun show for you guys here.
That's why I'm knocking these up early.
Right.
That's why I'm knocking these
Trevor and Keith agree on everything. But yeah, it's just, again, This one, I think, slightly more likely one of the other teams gets a game. I could see, the Hawks have Trae Young gets 40 points and plays great, and they hit a bunch of shots, and the Cavs are just off. The Bulls, they can sometimes put up a bunch of points, as like you referenced. And then the Heat, I don't know. I think the Bulls, we already did the play-in picks. I think the Bulls are going to beat the Heat tonight. I think the Hawks will win that
Yeah.
one, but I'm with you. Cavs in a sweep. I don't. It's just, I don't know. I'm kind of done with picking 5 to be nice. Like I
Right.
think, and I think Cleveland again, another team. Last year, what happened? Their playoff run got wrecked because of injuries. By the time
Mhm.
they were in the final stages against Boston, they were down a whole bunch of guys. And I think this is another team that is going to be, let's get this series over. Let's get it done with. Let's go put our feet up. Hope that the Pacers and Bucks take a while and that series stretches out, and then we go from there. But yeah, so all right, so we're both Cleveland in a sweep.
Correct. Yep. Cleveland in a sweep. All right, let's bounce back to the Western Conference. And let's go. Rockets,
Now it gets
Warriors. Now we got a good one here. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait for this series. I think this is going to be phenomenal. The Rockets, such a good defensive team, but the Warriors defense has been great as well. In fact, I thought a lot of the Warriors rotations were really impressive against the Grizz, especially. It's like you think you've got something cooking on the offensive end. You think you've got an open look coming, and then next thing you know, it's just gone. Like, because they do such a good job recognizing and rotating, the Warriors do, and the Rockets do the same thing. Now, the big key for the series, it's going to be who wins the offensive rebound battle. The Warriors, most people don't think about them as a good offensive rebounding team. They are. They're great at getting the long bounce mid-range offensive rebounds. The Rockets, meanwhile, are the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA. So that battle,
one of the best in NBA history.
yeah, I mean, it's insane the number. And offensive rebounds we've seen this season, it's been a resurgence in terms of the importance of it because it tends to generate open threes. And you do that against Steph Curry, who gets to relocate after an offensive rebound and get a look. That's death. The Rockets can take advantage of that as well. The Rockets have Alperen Sengun, which the Warriors don't. That's going to be a big key to the series. But Keith, I think this one's going to be phenomenal. I think this is going to be a great series. I'm going to say Rockets in 7. I'm going to say home court ultimately wins it out. But I think this is going to be a knockdown, drag out fight of a series, and I can't wait for it.
I think what's really fun in this series is I think everybody kind of knows, all right, Houston's offense can be a little wonky, but their defense is great. I think there's still this hangover a little bit with the Warriors where, because for so many years they were this incredible offensive team and they still have Steph and like it's still Steve Kerr, Draymond's still there. It's still the same team. So we have some of the priors that stick. They're a pretty average offensive team. Like they've been better since getting Jimmy Butler, but they're still not a great offensive team. I think this is going to be a series of close games. I think these games are going to be extremely physical. I think there's a pretty good chance we see an ejection or two in this. If so, Mr. Green will probably heavily involved.
Who's getting tossed?
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks and Draymond Green. Although I would say, I think Draymond gets away with a lot more than he doesn't. Right? I mean, he
no
gets right in official spaces.
Clap and scream in the ref's face like the way he can.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So, but here's the thing. What I said is the Warriors aren't a great offensive team, but they are a better offensive team than the Rockets. I think for the Rockets to be there, they have to find a way to generate easy offense. That can either be off of where we're getting points off, our incredible offensive rebounding rate. They could maybe, score some points off of just playing fast, getting it out and running faster than the Warriors do. They don't play. I don't believe their pace is great. The Warriors' pace is like pretty square in the middle of the pack. Let me double check on the Rockets. Yeah,
Golden State. This is post All-Star, by the way, to try to get in the Jimmy effect. But yeah, you've got Houston at 15th and Golden State at 19th in pace.
Yeah, and they're like a possession off each other. So but if I was Houston, I would try to play a little bit faster. Try to get it up the floor, try to steal some easy offense. You've got the ball handlers who can rip and run and pass and all those things. I think another key is what do they do with Amin Thompson? Is he going to be on the ball or is he going to be off ball? If he's off ball, that's a win for the Warriors because they're just not going to guard him. If they lose a game because he makes 4 or 5 3-pointers,
Yeah.
they're going to tip their cap and say, now do it again tomorrow, right? Do it again next game. That's the thing. So they'll play off him. If you put him on ball, which I would do if I was Houston, because if you put him on ball, you can then Fred VanVleet's been a pretty good off-ball player throughout the course of his career. Jalen Green does his thing. Dylan Brooks does his thing. Guys off the bench are better, a little bit more dependent players. And then you don't lose Thompson as a playmaker, as a scorer, as somebody who can really be involved. And when I say as a scorer, it's more in the mid-range and driving to the basket. So let's see what those wrinkles look like. On the Warriors side, can they free up Steph? When these teams played recently, Thompson had Steph in jail.
Yeah.
Like that was the best defense anybody's played on him in maybe ever. But yeah, I think this is going to be a fascinating series, close games, battles. So you went Rockets in 7.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way, the Warriors are looking at the betting odds. The Warriors are the series favorite. They're a minus 190. The Rockets are a plus 165.
And I feel like I've been saying this for the last few weeks. Like whoever it was Houston played, it felt like that was going to be the popular upset pick. Because again, it's like, well, we've never seen this version of the Rockets in the postseason. What does it look like? So I'm going to go Warriors in 7. I don't generally like picking the road team in 7. I'll usually pick them in 6. I just feel like the Warriors, everybody on that roster outside of a couple guys has been there, done that in big playoff games on the road. So I don't think they'd be at all swayed by the environment in a game 7 on the road. So I'm going to pick Warriors in 7.
If you're going to get a road team winning a game 7, this is the dynamic that you would need, right? Where you've got the road team is the more experienced team and the home team is the inexperienced team come playoff time. That's the type of dynamic that could help, increase that upset in a game, because game 7s largely go to the home team, but this would be the dynamic to do that. But I'll tell you what's really different about the Warriors post Jimmy Butler. They went from being a bottom 3rd free throw attempt team per game to being 3rd in the NBA in free throw attempts per game. Yeah. That's changed their team so much. Having somebody that can consistently get to the line. He has the highest percentage of his points coming from the free throw line of anyone in the NBA, which is remarkable. So that could serve them well, certainly in a very close physical game. So this will be something to watch. I don't feel great picking against the Warriors in this one. I just think this Rockets defense is so good, and I love Alperen Sengun, and I think him being on the Rockets gives them a weapon that the Warriors don't have. But we'll see. I think this is going to be a battle, and I can't wait for this series.
I think we'll know early in this series too if is Houston ready for this.
Yeah.
If they come out and they play really, really well and they're ready to go, that's big. I think the Warriors. Clearly, I think they would have rather been I think they would have been the 5th seed if I remember correctly, right? Maybe they would have been 7th. I can't remember at this point, but
had they won, they would have been 6.
It would have been 6. So, and I'm not saying they would have rather played the Lakers. I think they would have rather had
not playing the
week off, right? But I think getting the win in the first playing game is big for them because now they can take a few days off.
Yeah,
because Steph at times you could tell he's just banged up. Like it feels like he's got 10 different injuries going on. Jimmy Butler, a couple moments looked like he was limping around a little bit. Draymond Green's he looks like Mr. Freeze. Like when he's on the bench, he's got so much ice surrounding every part of his body. So it's like, but yeah, this is going to be all of the West outside of whoever the Thunder play are going to be really fun series. Like I can't wait for these.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And I'll tell you what, if Steph and Draymond and Jimmy are not banged up right now, they will be by the end of this series. And the same holds true for the Rockets. I expect this to be a very physical series between these two sides. All right,
as we transition to the next one, I think that's going to be a pretty physical series too. So I think we're going to get through these two, and we're going to see a lot of guys walking into that second round series that no matter who wins, banged up and battered and bruised.
Yep, it's going to be a war of attrition. All right, let's go over to maybe a less interesting series. The Celtics and the Magic. Not so much that it can't still be a fun series, particularly for you, for a Celtics fan, but there's a reason why when you look like the Warriors are a minus 190 favorite, the Celtics are a minus 5,500 favorite going into this one. I don't expect this to be a long series between the Celtics and the Magic, and I think this comes down to the Magic can't score. They just can't score at a high enough rate, and that's been the big disappointment with this team this season. The hope was, okay, they got KCP. Some of the other guys will see organic growth. They're going to finally have the three-point shooting, and it has not been there for them this season. So I don't think this is going to be a particularly long series between the Celtics and the Magic, and think just the huge gap in offense. Yeah, the Magic defend at a level similar to Boston? Maybe come playoff time, but at least they're both really good defensive teams. The difference is the Celtics can score and the Magic can't.
Yeah, it really is that simple. And to take it one level deeper, Boston, we know how they play. They're going to take a bunch of three-pointers. Over 50% of their shots come from three-point range.
Yep.
The Magic are, I don't know if it ended this way, but they made the fewest three-pointers in the league and they shot the worst percentage in the league. That's a math problem that just doesn't work for them. If they could outshoot Boston in terms of percentage in a game or two, yeah, maybe that could happen. But they're not going to outshoot them in terms of volume. They're not built that way. That's not how they play. And that's going to be the single hardest thing for them to solve. I do local radio here in Orlando every Wednesday. So we spent a lot of time on this series. And they were like, how do the Magic get there? One, I was like, they got to turn it into a rock fight, right? Be there. And they said, but the Magic play at the second slowest pace in the NBA. Like they don't make anything easy on themselves. That's been something I have harped on all season with this team. Even when they went through the injuries, there's this tendency where it's almost like a football game where you're super overmatched. So you try to control the time of possession, right? Like you're trying to hold it for 40 minutes.
Just hope that you lose by 10 or something instead of going fast and losing by 30.
Give us a chance at the end, right? Where, maybe where it's a one possession game at the end. That doesn't really work in basketball, right? There's just too many possessions to try to fully play that slow. But they don't get out and run. They don't rip and run off the boards, which is really disappointing because they have a bunch of good ball handlers who can really pass for big men. But that's how you have to steal easy offense. You're going to have to turn it into a rock fight defensively. You're going to have to give your fouls very smartly against Boston. It just comes down to the shooting difference is going to be too much for the Magic. This will be a series where I think they might be in games through three quarters. And then every game is that Boston wins, they win, kind of running away with it because the Magic just run out of gas and the Celtics don't.
Yeah. And it's tough. It's taxing to constantly be in catch-up mode. And I think that's what the Magic will be. And the best part of their offense, frankly, is probably getting to the free throw line.
Yep.
The Magic can do that. So I just don't see how, but other than that, they're playing a lot of half court. They don't shoot the ball well enough. And while their defense can certainly be stingy, I don't think Orlando's going to really have much of a shot here. Keith, I mean, you can tell me that because I'm going back and forth right now between just calling this a Celtics sweep and going Celtics at 5. And my only reason why it's not even about the Magic. It's, do the Celtics get bored at some point? And because we've seen them do this and start screwing around in like the third or fourth quarter in a game and accidentally lose one. How, as a Celtics guy, how realistic do you think that happening for one game is?
I think they largely got that out of their systems last year. And again, I think this is another team that Jaylen Brown's banged up coming into these playoffs. I think they would love to get a series over and then have that week to sit and wait for the next opponent. I think, the hope would be let's finish our business quickly and let's hope Knicks Pistons run 7 games where, again, they beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
And it's super physical, and that's how it goes. So I think they eliminated that for the most part. I'm not going to say they eliminated it fully, but I want to touch on a couple things that you said. Orlando, second highest free throw rate in the league in terms of free throws per field goal percentage. That's how, or field goal attempt rather.
Right.
That's how you sort to that. Boston, though, lowest free throw rate against in the league. They just don't foul a lot. They play really good defense without fouling. That was a little bit of a Brad Stevens thing. Then it became a really big Ime Udoka thing, and then Joe Mazzulla has really ramped it up. And Boston doesn't turn the ball over much either. I think they finished second in the league in turnover rate. So that is they just don't give it away and give you easy chances. So I think when you add all that up for Orlando, it's just too much to overcome for all the key metrics don't work in their favor. I'll pick first. I'm going to pick Celtics in 4. I don't generally like to pick sweeps. Orlando could get one because there's always the thought Celtics just don't shoot very well one night. The Magic play all fired up and they get it. But I think, again, I think just the volume is just going to be too much for Orlando to handle.
Yeah, I'm with you. Especially if you think the Celtics have fixed the problem where their attention span is not quite there for an entire game, then yeah, it's gonna be another sweep, which unfortunate for the East because that's now 2 sweeps that we've predicted in the first round of the Eastern Conference. But we also know it's a top heavy conference.
Yep.
So that's the way it's gonna go. All right. Let's jump over to what's predicted to be a very, very close series. Right now, my Lakers are a minus 200 favorite. It's one of the slimmest margins of any playoff series here. One of them, there's a couple that are right about the same. Bucks Pacers is right about the same. Actually, it's exactly the same in terms of the odds right now. The Wolves are a plus 170 underdog. The Lakers are a minus 200 favorite. The only series, I believe, that betting odds wise is projected to be closer right now is Clippers Nuggets, and that'll be a fun one to get into in just a minute too. But let's get into this. So, this is the big question for this, and Ron Gutterman and I broke this down on the Lakers Nation YouTube channel yesterday and on the podcast. It's, can the Lakers force the Wolves to adjust to them, or the Wolves force the Lakers to adjust, right? Because the Lakers are going to play small. Jackson Hayes is going to be a nominal starter, but it's going to be a lot of the 5-man smaller group. And I say small a little hesitantly because they're really just small at the 5. They're big everywhere else, but it's LeBron, Rui, Dorian Finney-Smith. You'll have Austin Reeves and Luka, and that's going to be the 5-man grouping that the Lakers are going to live and die with. And then for the Wolves, it's going to be Rudy Gobert is going to be out there. And can the Lakers play Rudy Gobert off the floor? Do they make the Wolves go small with Naz Reid and Julius Randle out there? Or is Gobert able to be such a factor on the offensive boards and helping at the rim and all of that the Lakers find themselves in trouble and they can't get Gobert off the court? So that's going to be kind of the stylistic battle between these two teams. It's, can the Wolves keep their bigger lineup on the floor? Can the Lakers play the Wolves' big lineup off the floor with their smaller lineup? And then from there, I think this is obviously plenty of stars in this battle. You got Anthony Edwards, you got LeBron, you got Luka. I think this is going to be a pretty great series. I think it's going to be a crazy series, a lot of back and forth. Both teams defensively do some really wonderful things. And I think the Wolves actually aren't getting enough credit for how good they've been this season. When you dig into all the advanced numbers, you look at them and you go, how did this team wind up finishing 6th? Like all their advanced metrics say they are much better than a 6 seed.
And they've been very, very much better. That's great English. Me, a writer, is since the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Like they've just been far better in the second half of the season than they were in the first half. And I think the big thing with Minnesota is to get into it, their statistical profile, there isn't anything where you're like, there it is. That's what they're elite at. A couple defensive metrics are pretty good, but they're just good at everything. There's nothing that they're really bad at either. And that's how, when you're kind of like top 10-ish, like they're like 10 to 15 and like everything. And when you add all those together, that starts to turn into, oh, this is how you get to be a pretty decent offense and a pretty decent defense. And that's, I think the point you made about who gets who to adjust is big. Not to use a pun here because I just said it, but can Minnesota be big? Can they use their size to their advantage? Can they get inside for baskets? Can they bully's not the right term because you don't bully LeBron and Luka, but can you just get your stuff around the hoop? Can you force your way in around the rim and make it hard? And can you turn the Lakers into a jump shooting team on the other end? They can have certainly very good jump shooting nights, but every coach, everybody watches. You'd rather have LeBron shooting jump shots than LeBron driving it right to the basket every single time.
Sure.
Because that's going to be the challenge, right? What can they do? What happens to Rudy Gobert? Everybody knows the famous, Luka got him on the switch and hit the shot and then, MF'd him off the planet. Right. But like, that's a highlight play. And quite frankly, like, that's what Luka does, right? That's why he's so great. But Gobert generally has held up okay in those spots. Like, he's done all right in those. But can you work your matchups where you keep them there? I think the challenge is going to be for the Wolves. Do they have enough individual defenders that can make life difficult on Luka, LeBron? And the guy I'm actually most worried about for them defending is Austin Reeves.
Yep.
Because I don't know who they're going to put. It's probably going to have to be Mike Conley. And that's just not great for the Wolves. Not at this point.
Well, they can turn to Alexander Walker or Dante DiVincenzo.
If they go, sure. And that'll happen. But I'm really thinking like when we start games,
from opening tip.
Like sure. It's going to be, and that's sometimes like, it sounds crazy to say because it's like a 5-point game. Sometimes the 5 points that mattered happened in the first 5 minutes, right? Like those are just as important as the ones that get scored late. And that's the one guy I don't know that they have a really great answer for. I think you're right. I think you're going to have to lean towards playing some guys strictly because they're better defensively, and you hope you get a little offense out of them and hope the rest of it can be carried by Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid. The Wolves don't have a chance if Julius Randle is the playoff Julius Randle we saw with the Knicks. That was terrible.
Yeah.
They'll get
his playoff numbers are horrible.
Yeah. They need him to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that ultimately, if the math comes down to if the Lakers have 3 of the top 4 players in the series, they'll be in good shape. If it's Reeves, LeBron, Luka, and Ant, and we mix them up in whatever order, if that's the way the math ultimately breaks down, if there's not another Timberwolf, and maybe it has to be Julius Randle, maybe it winds up being Rudy Gobert, you need one more of the Wolves players to be at least right there in that mix with that group. And if they get that, then the Wolves have a real shot. But ultimately, I think if the Lakers have 3 of the top 4 players in the series, then it's going to go their way. When I'm trying to predict this, I know everybody's doing the Lakers in 5 thing right now and all of that. And the Lakers are the favorite in the series.
Which now I understand. Thankfully,
yes.
From front office Friday last week.
But the more I look at this series, the more I'm like, man, both these teams have ways that they can hurt each other. It's going to be an interesting the coaching battle in terms of the tactics used is going to be really, really fascinating in this one too. So I'm actually going to go. I'm not going to pick against my team. I'm going to say Lakers in 6. But I can see paths where the Wolves could potentially win this series too. It's the Western Conference, man. This is a battle of a first round series.
Yeah, I think it goes 6 or 7. I mean, no, this is no fun because I'm picking same thing, Lakers in 6. I generally don't. Again, I don't really like to pick the road team. Well, yes, that too. But I'm also not an idiot.
Sure.
I don't like to pick the road team to win, win the series on the road. But I think it's LeBron and Lou. Like, they're not walking into Minnesota and going to crap their pants.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh no, we're playing a big road playoff game. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7. I don't think it'll be a short series. That would shock me much more than it going 7.
Yeah.
Just because I think my key here is, can Minnesota's bench vastly outplay the Lakers bench?
And they might.
But it's going to have to be by a wide margin because I think the starters versus starters, I think the Lakers are going to win that pretty well unless Randall's good. If Randall is good and the Wolves bench outplays the Lakers bench by a wide margin, the Wolves are going to win the series.
Yeah.
I just don't have faith that that's going to be how it plays
those things
out.
are going to happen.
And then it becomes, all right, I think the Lakers starters, I think what will happen is these will be close games. I think these are going to be games where it's going to be a little annoying if you're a Lakers fan, because I think it's going to be first quarter, Lakers are up by 12. Midway through the second quarter, Wolves are down by 2, because I just think their bench guys are just better than the Lakers. I mean, you've got Naz Reid, Dante
DiVincenzo. Yeah, I mean, that's better than anything the Lakers have coming off the bench.
And those guys are scoring guys too, right? Like
yes.
they come in, they play a little bit faster with those guys in the game. They're gonna put some points up, and that's where JJ's gonna have to be all over it. Of what are my staggers here, right?
Yeah.
Like how they're from this point forward, the Lakers aren't gonna play a meaningful minute without probably my guess is two of LeBron, Luka, and Austin on the court at all times, but definitely one of probably LeBron or Luka. I think, and then Austin will kind of vacillate around them. They'll win a blowout or they'll lose a blowout because everybody does at some course in a playoff run, and all three guys won't play much. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how they defend each other. What does it look like? I mean, the Wolves tried to put McDaniels on Luka, and Luka was just like, cool, I'm just going to take him to the block because I'm way stronger than him, and I'll just get whatever I want down there. And if you do that, like, then who guards LeBron? Like Randall? Like, okay.
I think it's going to have to be Randall.
Yeah, and I think you're going to have to just be like, all right, LeBron, shoot. Like, if you want to shoot jumpers, like, we gotta live with something here, right? We gotta live with something. But yeah, I'm with you. Lakers in 6. Again, another awesome series. Should be really fun.
Yep. Okay, let's go over to another. No question. The series I'm most excited about in the East, it's the Knicks and the Pistons, in the 3-6 there. I don't know, like the way these tend to go, right? Are the young team, they've got to kind of get their experience, and they go home early. And I don't think I'm going to pick against the Knicks in this, but this Pistons team, they're extremely athletic, they're extremely aggressive defensively. I love what we get out of Cade Cunningham here. Like, I think this is actually going to be a pretty hard-fought series between both these sides, and that the Pistons can create some real problems for New York. Now, again, I'm not going to pick against the Knicks. The Knicks right now are minus 400 favorite in this thing, but I'm really excited for this. I think this is going to be maybe not the closest series because Pacers-Bucks exists, but this is going to be, I think, the most fun series in the Eastern Conference, because I think these are two kind of gritty teams that are going to, maybe not as much so with the Knicks as they were, say, last year when they just feasted on offensive boards every game. But this is a team that, two teams, I think, that are going to really get after each other. And I can't wait to see it, especially with how explosive and athletic this Pistons team is. I think we're going to get some awesome moments in the series.
Yeah, I have a thought. Then I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'll get into a little bit more. So my initial thought is, this is kind of the Knicks execution versus the Pistons, like physicality and athleticism.
Yep.
Not that the Knicks are a bad team with athletes, but the Knicks, seems weird. It's the Knicks. It's Tom Thibodeau. They're not a good defensive team, but they are an excellent offensive team.
Yes.
Very, very good on offense, and they execute really well. And you got it there. They're 5th. This is NBA.com, right? So, right. Yeah. I mean, really, really good
on the season.
And then the Pistons, they're okay offensively. I think it's going to kind of come down to, though, can they out-athlete the Knicks? Can they really turn this into, let's get up and down the floor a little bit more? Let's get this game played a little more wild. And if they can, they have a chance. So now I'm going to move into my question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pick one. Which series sees more ejections? Rockets, Warriors, or Knicks, Pistons?
Does Draymond get officiated like everybody else?
No, he gets officiated just like he gets officiated.
Then Knicks, Pistons. If Draymond gets officiated like everybody else, he's ejected multiple times in the series.
I don't know how many years he's been in the league, but 13, 14 at this point.
Yeah.
He's not going to, so
he gets allowed to do whatever he wants to the officials, and nothing happens. So,
and I ask that a little tongue in cheek, just to say the Pistons are here. Basically, they are not just happy to be here. They're here to we're here to win. Like, we're here to play. And guys like Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland, they're not going to take any crap. There's going to be, I don't even think we make it to halftime of game 1, because the Knicks have a couple guys that they're content to mix it up too. Guys like Josh Hart, coming off the bench. Deuce McBride is, a guy who's not in it. Let me be very clear. Outside of Draymond and Dylan Brooks, who I think get into a lot of foolishness, I'm not saying any of these guys are necessarily dirty players. I just think they're very happy to turn this into, let's get after it. And I think a guy like Isaiah Stewart, when they're in Detroit, if he knows hey, me dropping a guy, barking at him and picking up a technical foul, that gets our crowd going, then it was all worth it, right? It's, the Mighty Ducks, 2 minutes, well worth it, right?
Right.
Like, there. So I think there's that. So now here's where my issue, kind of similar-ish to Celtics Magic. I don't know how Detroit scores enough to keep up with the Knicks.
Yeah.
That's my worry for them. They're going to need Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris, and someone else, whether that's one of the bigs, it's a wing kind of out of nowhere. Maybe it's Dennis Schroeder. Somebody else is going to have to be really good because the Knicks are going to get to 115, 120 points. Like they're gonna score because that's what they do. Cat, Brunson, Bridges has really improved as the year's gone along. OG Anunoby, and then kind of everybody they go to off the bench kind of knows their thing. Mitchell Robinson, I think, helps quite a bit. So I think that's the issue. I'm vacillating in what I want to pick here. I'm going to pick Knicks in 6, not just because it rhymes. I was closer to Knicks in 5, just because I think it's again, they're not happy to be here, but I think it's Detroit this is the first year of this, right? They're here.
Yeah.
Let's see what they do moving forward. I'll go Knicks in 6. I don't feel great about it. Would not be surprised if this was a 7-game series. Also wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks wrapped it up a little earlier than expected.
Yeah, I'm actually, I know it's not ideal when we pick the same thing, but I'm right there with you though. I'm also at Knicks in 6. And it's not that I think that the Pistons can't make a series out of it. I think they can. I think it's going to be a really exciting one. And this is, again, the series I'm most excited for in the Eastern Conference. But I just do think that ultimately there's a reason why it usually takes some time for teams to get a little bit of playoff experience. They have to get in there. They get to, there's a big step up when you get into the playoffs, and sometimes it takes teams time to acclimate to that step up to playoff basketball. And I think that's going to be the case with the Detroit Pistons because that's what history tells us tends to happen. So that's what I think happens here in the series.
On this one,
yeah,
the Knicks, they don't necessarily get to the free throw line a lot, but they don't put their opponents on the free throw line very much. And it's funny because I actually heard Tibbs talk about it. He's like, well, we don't play enough defense to actually foul teams, which is right. He's just mad. But Detroit does put teams at the free throw line a ton. They foul a lot. They're just extremely aggressive. They're extremely physical. That's probably going to be an issue for them, I think, because you've got Cat, Brunson. They're pretty good at the foul drawing game as far as 2 individuals. And it's the playoffs. They'll lean on that Cat Brunson 2-man game 50, 60 times a game if they need to. If that's what they need to run, that they'll just run that until the Pistons show, all right, we're going to do something to stop it. So that's where I think we could see Detroit get themselves in a little bit of trouble because much like Boston and Orlando, right? I said the 3-point variance will be too much. You put yourself in too big of a free throw hole, you can't climb out of it.
Yeah.
And that could be a challenge.
That's a good call out. That's a good thought. All right. So Knicks Pistons, let's jump over. I think this one's going to be crazy.
What a good one. Hopefully.
Oh my God.
Hopefully.
Nuggets Clippers. This is, I believe, this is the projected to be the closest in terms of the betting odds right now. The Clippers are a -125 favorite, Nuggets +105. That's about as close as you're going to get, right? So the way the Clippers played against the Warriors the other night to end the regular season in overtime, I mean, they found ways to make I know that like James Harden has a history of being a choker in the playoffs, and that was the thought. I saw that all over social media that, the Warriors are going to execute down the stretch and the Clippers aren't. That's not what happened. The Clippers found ways to make plays. And if Kawhi Leonard is suddenly back to being Kawhi Leonard, I don't know. I mean, this is a tough series because Jokic is the best player in the series by far. But after that, I think the Clippers, there's a lot of advantages that this Clippers team has over Denver. And what version of Jamal Murray are we going to see? What version of Michael Porter Jr. are we going to see? Is Aaron Gordon going to continue to have his otherworldly 3-point shooting? If any of those don't fall in Denver's favor, I think the Clippers are going to be in good shape in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. It is funny, right? If you were just saying, all right, let's rank the players on either the 2 rosters, Jokic would be number 1 and not even close, right? On his own planet. But then the Clippers might have the next like 4, maybe
They
even
might.
5 guys, right? Because I would pick Kawhi, Harden, probably Zubac,
Yeah.
and then potentially Norman Powell. Now, if
Over
Jamal
Jamal
Murray
Murray?
was Jamal Murray, if I knew
Yeah.
he was going to be Jamal Murray, and I get it, you could say the same thing with Kawhi, right?
Sure.
That's the worry, right? And God knows I've been there probably more than anybody because I bought into this stupid Clippers team so many years in a row. Are we going to wake up on the morning of like game 3, game 4, and there's the Shams tweet? Kawhi Leonard's dealing with knee soreness and is questionable tonight.
Right.
And it's like, now what? Is that it? Are we going to see him again? Are we just going to have to play this game again? What's this going to look like? If you could tell me Kawhi's good to go and will be healthy, and nothing indicates that he's not. So Charlie Brown, football. Yep, I'm here again. I'm buying into some extent. That said, it's Jokic, man. Like he is
That's
just
the hard
so good.
How do you like the Zoo versus Jokic
Better
battle?
than almost anybody else because Zubac has been incredible this year. He is to the point where he maybe should be defensive player of the year. I don't think he has the narrative behind him to actually win it. And the whole like everybody being like, wow, this dude's been really good. I think it's all happened far too late.
He should get more love for most improved player.
Agreed. Yeah, both. Like, right, for me, is a lock all first team, all defense. Like that's no question. And at this point, right, I think I might even said this the other day when we did our live. It was either last Friday or Friday before. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of between Evan Mobley and Jaren Jackson Jr. Kind of dropped Triple J out completely, and now I'm kind of like, all right, Mobley, Amon Thompson, Lou Dort, or Zubac. Like, I'm like, pick whoever you want. I'm all right with it. So, I like him better than just about anybody else you can put on Jokic, but good offense beats good defense every time, and great offense beats great defense even more often. And then I don't even know what to call Jokic because it's not even great offense. It's like phenomenal, unbelievable offense. So that's the challenge. I don't know. We might need to talk it out a little bit more. I'm not ready to make a pick yet.
So here's the big question for me, and these are Kawhi's shooting numbers over the last 15 games. Today's NBA, just big picture. Defenses are geared to give up the mid-range shot, right? You want to stop threes, you want to stop shots at the rim. Those, the math tells you, are more valuable. You want guys shooting 20-footers. But Kawhi is so damn great at that 20-footer, at that pull-up, it's automatic. He's shooting 55% from the field over his last 15. He only played in 13 of the 15 games, but he's putting up 26 points. If you're getting that version of Kawhi Leonard that is just automatic on the mid-range, Denver's defense is not good. I'm already worried about Harden, what he's going to do to Denver's defense. Zoo, I think he's going to get his opportunities as well, but Denver's a bottom third defense this season in the NBA. And if you add in that Kawhi is now Kawhi Leonard again, that could be a big, big problem for the Nuggets, because even if they do really sell out to try to get to Harden, try to get to Powell behind the three-point line, try to not allow them to get going from there, you try to deal with Zoo in the paint, Kawhi Leonard is going to be picking them apart on those mid-range shots that NBA defenses right now are all geared towards specifically giving that shot up. So I think the Clippers pose a lot of offensive problems for this Nuggets team, and that's going to be a big, big issue. Like I said, if you get a disappearing Michael Porter Jr. series, that could be it. It could be game over. Denver needs all 4 of their main guys, and you probably need like a Christian Brown or Peyton Watson or someone like that to have a big series too. But they're 4 guys. All 4 need to be great in this series. Jokic is going to do Jokic things. He's going to create looks for people. But I look at the rest of these teams, and I think the Clippers have the better roster. They're playing better basketball right now than Denver is. Who knows? Maybe Jamal Murray. It's just being in LA. It's LA teams that cause him to play well. Maybe that's it. Maybe Jamal Murray goes back to LA and he goes, oh yeah, I play really well against this team. And if he does, then who knows? But man, I think I have to lean Clippers, and it doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good to pick against Jokic, that's for sure, because he is the best player in the series. But I think the way Kawhi has been playing, when you add in Harden, when you add in everything else that they've had going, and again, Harden hit big shots against Golden State, I think they've been good enough and Kawhi is close enough when he's playing at this level, and Zoo is close enough to not Jokic level, but to being a top tier big man, that I think the Clippers ultimately come away with it. And I guess if it was close for me, if I had to break the tie, the Clippers are a great defensive team and the Nuggets are not. And that just matters more in come playoff time.
Yeah, it's hard to go against any of that. I had a couple people ask versions of who does Harden guard. How I would line this up is I'd put him on Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon is not taking him off the dribble, and Harden is pretty strong. Like that's been right. We remember for years when he was with the Rockets, especially when they played like the Grizzlies and teams, they'd try to get him on a switch, and he can hold his ground. Now Gordon spends a lot of time just hanging out at the 3-point line and then back cutting. And that's where I worry Harden will get a little lost off ball. You could probably play him a little free safety, right? Let him kind of camp out. Then put Dunn on Murray. I think that one's a lock to have.
Oh, yeah. That you're doing 100%.
And why I say Harden on Gordon, if Dunn can kind of neutralize Murray or make it really hard, you put Kawhi on Michael Porter Jr. Now where are you going if you're Denver? Now it's all on Jokic to create everything. Now he probably can. Like I'm not gonna question that. And then Powell on Brown, and that's probably even up. Like you're probably okay there. So that's I think gonna be the key thing. I think there's a little more play with the matchups. All that said, I'm gonna go Nuggets in 7 just because they are the home team and it's Jokic. Like I have a hard time seeing this. There's a world, though, where this is like Clippers in 5, and we get the Shams piece a couple hours after the series ends of here's all the horrible things that were going on in Denver that we didn't talk about 3 weeks ago. Like, and it's already written, it's sitting in the draft folder. Just when Nuggets lose, press post or whatever. Like that there is a world where that happens, but. I'm just gonna. I just can't quit Jokic yet, so I'm gonna pick Nuggets in 7 in this one. What's your official pick?
Mine is gonna be Clippers in 6. I'm gonna go Clippers in 6, and because I'm gonna say they're gonna take care of it on their home court in Game 6. But and again,
would not shock me by any means. Like
I just think the Clippers defense is gonna give them problems.
Yeah, I'll probably be here in 2 weeks, being like. Maybe the Clippers can give the Thunder, because I'm Charlie Brown and they're my football. So.
They could. That would be a battle. But anyway, I think this is going to be a great series. I'm fired up for that. I can't wait to see. I mean, obviously, Jokic is always great. The Nuggets, they've had there was an aura of invincibility for the Nuggets for a while where you knew late in games they were just going to hit shots. And I feel like that has eroded to a degree. And I think that will be a problem for them.
Yeah, they are not the, everybody's been like, who can beat the Thunder in the West? They had been my kind of stock answer for a long time. And I even probably longer than I should have. I'm like, they're kind of just playing out the regular season. They're not. Now I'm a little like, well, it could be the Lakers. They've got the star power. Could be the Clippers if they make a run. The Warriors look, pretty scary now. I'm like, the Nuggets do still have Jokic. So it's not now I just kind of don't answer that question because I don't really know. I think a lot of it will come down to matchups and health by the time we get there. But yeah, it's a different Nuggets team for sure.
All right, let's jump over to the East 4-5 matchup, the Pacers and the Bucks. I don't know why. Like, why am I not excited about this series, Keith? Like, it's just kind of that.
Maybe game's out, right?
That's definitely part of it. There's no Damian Lillard, and so that hurts. I don't know. Like, I guess I just don't buy either one of these teams being like a true threat. And maybe it's a bad taste in my mouth from the Pacers making it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year when I didn't think they were a conference finals caliber team. And I don't think they are here either, but I also don't think the Bucks are. Like, this is, I don't know. I don't mean to, obviously they can be fun teams. The Pacers fly up and down the floor. The Bucks have Giannis. I'm going to watch the series looking for those things. But I look at who's going to come out of this thing. And I'm like, I don't think either team can make much of an impact. Like, I think either one of these teams goes home in round 2. I think that's the bottom line. And maybe the same is true of Knicks Pistons, but yeah, I'm not that thrilled with this series. Not as much as Knicks Pistons. I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting more of a battle in Knicks Pistons than in this one.
Yeah, we'll get into it in a minute here when we finish this series. I think Celtics and Cavs are just on a collision course for
Sure.
to meet in the East Finals. I'm with you. I kind of think this one is. I'm not going to say they're serving up as sacrificial lambs to the Cavs because they'll challenge them. For me, what this series ultimately comes down to is, can the Pacers make Giannis work hard enough, and can they contain the other guys?
Yeah.
If they can keep Taurean Prince, who I don't know how many people have been following this, he has been awesome this year.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
He's shooting the
his
hell out of the
shooting
ball.
it doesn't even make sense. Like, where this has come from. Like, he's been incredible. And now he plays the two for this Milwaukee team that's really kind of become this weird, like, giant team with Lillard on the shelf. But that was even when Lillard was still there, like, just a different kind of team. But you have to make Giannis have to work. This sounds super weird. I think Thomas Bryant and Tony Bradley, who are the Pacers' second and third string centers, could play a real role just because that's 6 hard fouls you can give on Giannis. And I'm not suggesting they go out there trying to hurt him, but you have to foul him harder.
You have to wall him off.
Yeah. And that's it. They're going to have to build a wall. You can't ask Siakam or Toppin or Neesmith, whoever picks them up. You can't ask them to do it on their own. So that's going to be the challenge, right? Can you make him have to work and kind of keep the other guys under wraps? I think the Pacers can score on this team. I think they'll get buckets. They're clearly going to spread them out. They're going to try to get Brook Lopez into weird spots. Tyrese Halliburton has to be willing to be a scorer. He can't. There's times when I think this is not a super big criticism of him because I'm criticizing his unselfishness and his he is a true point guard. There's times when it's like, but I needed you to score there. I didn't need you to look for the pass. You needed to go on that play because Lopez is going to be sitting back. If he's shooting pull-up threes, pull-up mid-rangers, even getting to his floater in the lane, those kind of things, that's probably at times better than him coming in and kicking it out to maybe a covered-up shooter or something like that. So I worry too a little bit about Giannis. We're like a few playoffs in a row where he hasn't really been able to make it through, and he's going to have to carry a massive load because I'm going to guess all the good news about Damian Lillard, which is incredible that we're even talking about he may play. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because that bodes well for next season. But I think that's much more of maybe he could play. But the idea is, like, it's going to have to be a deep playoff run, and more likely we see him next season. And I think that's going to be the difference. I think the Bucks are just going to have a little bit of trouble keeping up. I'm picking Pacers in 7.
I'm right there with you. I was also at Pacers in 7. And the reason for it is, well, I mean, I have a hard time trusting the Bucks because for years now they've just fallen short of what the expectations have been for the team. Giannis is great, but no Damian Lillard. I think that's going to be a big deal for them. And I just think the Pacers are going to be able to run enough on this team and put up enough points. And so that's where I think the Pacers are going to be able to ultimately win out. But I do think it'll be a long series. I think it's close enough. Both these teams defend both teams are good, not great. Both teams can score. Both teams can defend at a solid level. And
Indiana
I think
a little less so, but
sure, Indiana a little less so. But Indiana, I believe in their fast break offense more, and I think they can put up points in a hurry, especially when they get that 3-ball falling. So I'm going to go Indiana. I think it's going to be interesting seeing the battle of the stretch bigs with Miles Turner and Brook Lopez. That'll be a bit of fun out there. But I just I don't know, man. I wish I could I hope this winds up being a super fun series. I wish I could put my finger on it though. Maybe it's just I'm expecting like big moments from Jalen Brunson. I don't know if we're going to get the big moments in this series, but we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong on that. And I'll go Pacers in 7. I think ultimately they're able to fast break enough and get out and transition enough and get enough scoring opportunities against this Milwaukee team that'll carry them. But I think it's going to be a real close series.
All right, we'll do the quick recap. We are the same on 6 of the 8 series, so that's super fun. We both picked OKC in 4. We both picked the Lakers in 6. They were exactly the same on all 4 East series. Cleveland in 4, Indy in 7, New York in 6, Boston in 4. The ones were different. I had Nuggets in 7. You had Clippers in 6. I had Warriors in 7. You have Rockets in 7. So those are the ones that will swing. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this part of it because we're already running up against an hour here. But we'll obviously break it down in detail when we know the matchups. What's your West Finals?
My West Finals. I'm not going to pick against my team. I'm going to say the Lakers make it through, and I'm going to say they're playing the Thunder in the final. I mean, I don't think that's a hot take at all, that it's the Thunder sitting there waiting for them.
Okay, so you've got Lakers versus Thunder.
I mean, the East is easy, right? Everybody knows. Like we can just fast forward to the East Finals right now. Everybody knows the way that's going to go.
So again, super fun for everybody. But we both have Thunder Lakers in the West Finals. We both have Celtics Cavs in the East Finals. You're not pulling any surprises, right?
Oh no, definitely not going there. You've got Lakers in the West Finals too, so you're not saying you're not going to stick with your Clippers here. Well, I guess you picked against them in round one anyway. You picked Nuggets, so
yeah. Well, and that's the 4-5, right? So they'll play the Thunder.
They'll have to play OKC. Yep.
Yeah, right. I don't think they'll beat OKC. If it was Clipper Lakers, like
that'd be interesting.
That'd be more interesting, but. Maybe that could be the West Finals. We'll see. That's the only way we're going to get it. All right, what's your NBA Finals?
As much as I'd love to make the homer pick and go with my Lakers there, I believe what the Thunder have showed us over the course of the season. I think they are that good. I think when you look at the advanced metrics, you look at the stats, you look at what ultimately they do, they force a lot of turnovers. They commit very few turnovers themselves. I think the Thunder get there. Their net rating is the best we've seen, I believe, ever. It's crazy. So
they set the record.
I do buy what this Thunder team is, and so I think it's going to be the Thunder in the finals for the West, for representing the West.
Yeah, so the dream, since we've been hanging out, has been Boston and in LA, right? We've wanted that and never got it. A couple of years, I think we thought maybe we're going to get it, and and then we didn't for one team or the other not being there. But it is, I feel very confident in Boston getting there again. No disrespect meant to Cleveland. I just think Cleveland puts too many attack points on the floor. I think that's what the Celtics excel at more than I think that single strength of theirs may be the best single strength any team has in the playoffs, meaning they are so good at that. They're going to find the matchup they want to go at, and they're going to go at it almost sometimes to the point where it's like, all right, stop now. Like you've ground everything else to a halt, and you've kind of made it a little bit of a mess. That's the one thing I worry about with the Cavs is that defense going to hold up? You ask so much of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. What's that going to look like? Can Allen be on the floor against Boston late in games with the way the Celtics will play extreme 5-out spacing? So I'm going to pick the Celtics to go. I really, really wanted to pick Celtics Lakers, but I'm with you. I can't pick against the Thunder.
Yeah.
Like I know there's the element of prove it, right? And we're all saying it. Prove it. Prove to us that you're this.
And
good.
We're doing that with the Rockets too, right? We're saying prove it, right? And that's fair. I believe it.
That's my thing is like, it's a little more fair with the Rockets when they haven't been in the playoffs, the Thunder have. And the Thunder, like they finished 16 games ahead of the Rockets in second place. Like they really, the regular season meant nothing to them since like just after Christmas.
Yeah.
They've had such a large lead. They've been able to steamroll everybody. Like we said, that scoring differential is huge. I don't think they're going to run through the playoffs like that. I think as other teams shrink their rotations down, that's where the Thunder get you. They have such good depth that in the regular season, when you're playing your 10th, 11th, 12th, sometimes 13th guy, their 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th guys are way better than yours. And they're just going to run you over in those minutes, and then you can't make it up. They're really good. So I'm picking Celtics and Thunder. Homer pick. I felt confident in them all year. I'm going to remain confident. I think the Celtics break the streak and they go back to back. Okay,
so I'm going to go. I am more of a believer in the Cavs than you are. I do think that the Cavs, the way they execute on the offensive end it can be a lot of fun to watch at times. The way they move the ball around. I think Ty Jerome has become so critical for them. What he's brought off the bench, because we focus on all the other guys, but Ty Jerome has been great for them. I still have a hard time just because Boston plays that 5-out offense. Ultimately, that's a mismatch when you've got Jared Allen. Evan Mobley can hang there, but Jared Allen out there as well makes it a little bit tough. It kind of, in some ways, reminds me of like what we're talking about with Lakers Wolves, in that would the Celtics force the Cavs to play smaller? Can the Cavs and Mobley is more? I'm sorry, Jared Allen is more mobile than Rudy Gobert is, but it's still a bit of a mismatch there. And so I'm going to lean towards the team in today's NBA that can shoot a bunch of threes and get those open looks, because you've got the extra bigs on the floor, over the Cavs in this one. So I think the Cavs have had a phenomenal season. I hope it doesn't go this way for obvious reasons, but I think it is going to be Boston in the finals. But I'm going to pick the Thunder because, like I said, their net rating, everything suggests they are as good as what they've been showing us over the course of the season. I think their defense is going to present some real issues for the Celtics, and I'm buying what the Thunder have been over the course of this season. I think it's going to be them.
So, super shocker, two guys who spend multiple hours a week together talking basketball and then multiple other hours texting about basketball. We're pretty much in similar places. But I think these playoffs have a chance to be awesome. I think there's a lot of really fun matchups. I think even some of the series we picked to be shorter series, I think some of the games within those series might be pretty good. I just think, it's there's a couple where I think it's just there's enough there that it's going to be kind of runaways. But man, I cannot wait for all this to get started. Even the play-in tournament tonight's fun because this is as close as we get to the NCAA tournament, right? Yeah. It's like do or die. You're out now. I've had some people be like, how much do a couple of these teams really care about the do part? I think they're just ready to do the die part. So we'll see with that. But yeah, it's interesting. I did want to answer one question because it's come up repeatedly. If you win this game, but then lose the next game. So if you're, let's say Miami, you beat the Bulls, you do not move ahead of the Bull. You do not move behind them in draft order. You still stay ahead of them if you lose the next one. It's all dependent on who goes to the playoff spot or not. If you don't go to the playoffs, you slot in where you should have been, and that's it. That's kind of important for the Kings, especially because the Kings have that top 12 protected pick. So there's still, I think, a little bit of a question mark where they'll slot depending on the end results of the play-in tournament. But I did just want to answer that one very quickly with that. So
yeah. So here's the where it sits right now. Yeah. Sacramento will be given the 14th pick to the Hawks. But you said it's top 12 protected. So
it's top 12. Yeah.
So 2.4% chance of jumping into the top 4 if you're Sacramento. Otherwise, you give your pick to the Hawks. Yeah. Okay. So that's something.
That Miami one. Remember the importance there. Mm-hmm. If they keep it, they owe an unprotected pick in 2 years to the Thunder, and then 2 years after that, an unprotected pick to the Hornets. So
and is theirs? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Is theirs lottery?
Theirs is
Miami's
lottery.
So if they make the postseason, then that pick will go.
It goes to the Thunder. Yeah.
I don't know that they make the postseason though.
Yeah, I don't think I think they're going to lose tonight.
Think they do.
To the Bulls. Yeah. I just there's that Heat team just there's way too many holes, way too many things that are wrong there. Like it's just but yeah, it's gonna be great. And we'll be here with y'all breaking it down. Rest of the week's gonna be a little weird. We both have some stuff going on. Like I'm we're gonna get done and I'm running off to a soccer tournament. Yes, it starts in the middle of the day on the Wednesday of a school week, but it is what it is. I know you've got some travel coming up, so we'll figure it out. Just watch our socials. We'll let you know when we're getting in a show. One way or another, we'll have some form of live show Friday. Maybe just me, but we'll figure all that out and we'll get into it. But
we'll make it
let us know in the comments. Let us know what your picks are for the first round. Let us know. I've got polls running over on Twitter. Blue Sky doesn't have poll options, so they're running on Twitter for every series. Except I'll wait and I'll do the Thunder Cavs ones when we know who the opponent is, and you can vote in there and go. A couple of them already have quite a few votes, and it's been fun checking those out to see what people think. You can see the ones where it's like well, this is the wishful thinking voting
Right.
versus this is what I really think. But yeah, I can't wait, man. This
Let's go.
weekend is like NBA heaven for great basketball to just sit and watch hoops all day long.
For sure. Playoff time. Let's go.
Lock
all right,
in.
everybody. We appreciate all of you for joining. Make sure that you do hit the subscribe button over on YouTube and then follow us over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Let us know your thoughts on the playoffs and our picks. Till next time. See ya and stay safe.